Hello, I may or may not be speaking into a microphone. I'm not really sure, actually.
I can hear you fine. I was
Okay.
surprised where I got that little blip that, hey, Chris just entered the stage again. So
Yeah, my USB connection reset in the middle of the intro. So,
at least it was done before we
anyways,
started. There we go.
yeah, it's June 3rd, and welcome to the Dev Talk Show. I'm here with Rich Ross, and it just barely made it back into the studio. I think I'm not sure. It was already kind of showing the screen, but in any case, here we are, and it's Wednesday, June the 3rd, and we are here to continue working on the batch transcription, which is, a fancy name for taking the audio file from a show that we've done and turning it into a transcript that then we could process in other ways after seeing that done. And we're using the speech to text service that's in, I think we have that right? We're using the speech to text service.
Definitely speech to text.
Okay. All right.
This is the weird part. I guess it is part of the cognitive service bit. But yeah,
that naming isn't clear on Foundry though. Like it doesn't say cognitive services; it says AI services in that tab.
Yeah. And
then when you dig into roles and stuff in Azure, it will say that again. And I think like even ARM templates, the URL link out to, there's naming and branding that must be going on, I'm sure. And
yeah, and that gets into a deep discussion of Azure, but at the high level, those resource providers all started off as cognitive services, or many of them did.
Yeah.
And so cognitive services rolled out back in 2016-ish timeframe, kind of back when I started at Microsoft. So when those got collapsed under the Foundry environment, those became quote unquote AI services. So that was their way of kind of renaming them, at least on the surface. But under the covers, the resource providers, the roles that you have to assign permission into, all of those are still referred to as cognitive services. Many of them are. Maybe not all.
Yeah.
But definitely many. Because there's a Foundry operator or a Foundry admin, something like that, because I use that group when I'm trying to do some permissions things. But
right.
Anyway, we digress. How have you been? Build's going.
Oh, pretty good. I mean, yesterday, obviously we talked a little bit about how Microsoft Build is starting, and yesterday was the keynote, which still have to catch up on a lot of things because there's just so much content. And I know there was a pretty big session in the afternoon that I'd like to see. I think it's the one that Scott and Mark did, very similar to I'm assuming it's similar to the series they do on YouTube where they get together every now and then.
Yeah.
And do some work. So in any case, I know we have it's interesting because we talked a lot about CLIs yesterday there was a lot of talk about CLIs yesterday at Build.
Yeah.
I think I even heard at one point Satya say like there's a lot of CLIs out there. And I said, oh, well, we have 1, 2 now. And
throwing our hat in the ring. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So in order to run the show, and again, it's not like for public use, but it's also, I think, a good way to start proving out some concepts for tools, because we could always turn it into some kind of command center. So whether that like a web-based command center or something like that.
And I think that's the tools we're trying to assemble. I think even though we started late today and we were trying to put some things together, still ran through that process of, hey, let's create the run of the show. Let's create the little thing for YouTube. Let's use the tool to go ahead and do the update. So, and that has to happen in a certain order. So that's why we're a little late in getting all those things in place. I think we might have to maybe look at if there's a way to not just update the broadcast, but maybe update something once we get started too, which we'll have to do eventually, because at some point we're going to go back and put the timestamps and things in. So there's that. So, okay.
Right.
Oh, okay. There's two things I was trying to, we talked about two things we might kind of lead off with. One is I was doing some research or looking at blog posts and things yesterday as I was kind of catching up on stuff from Build. And one of the things I saw, and now as I talk about it, I don't have that one. Did I get that one? Yeah, I did. Okay. Maybe I can share my screen.
Okay.
Da-da-da. That stage, do that one. There we go. Cool. So this is kind of interesting, right? If we think about how we use the generative AI tools and GitHub Copilot and things like that, it's more than just having that chat conversation over top of our code. And you've seen it with some of the stuff we're doing here about building our own agents for, putting together, the initial part of a show or creating skills that do the individual tasks associated with that. So this is really cool because Azure Functions is something that we were building here as well to understand when that file gets dropped to go ahead and do a bunch of work. There's a team that's working on defining a number of Azure Function skills that you can use to, improve and kind of use that instead of just having a chat conversation around Azure Functions, which is what I did originally to begin with. And part of that is because as you go through and read this, and I'm taking this from memory, that if you think about what's here, Azure Functions has gone through a number of iterations, enhancements, improvements, from the old model, and I'm blanking what that model is, to the isolation worker model, which is kind of the way things
right.
in process and worker model, or isolated worker. That new way of doing it is kind of, there's not as much information compared to the older information, so things can get skewed looking at that. So what the skills do is provide more some task focused ways of doing things like set up and create and deploy and diagnostics. And this one here, which I actually ran best practices, and I did a conversation with it where I pointed it to our skill and said, hey, go run the best practices. And it actually came back with, you shouldn't be using the key, which after the mishap we had on Monday probably makes sense. So now that we're not using that, how do we get around it? So it actually changed our code up so that we are using what we should have been using originally. And I wasn't thinking about it on Monday, was the default Azure credentials, so that it uses the Azure CLI and it's able to basically, use an authenticated account as opposed to a key that could get lost and go anywhere. So that was pretty cool to kind of get that all fixed up and running. So, so you can install the skills. Those skills are available. And I think if we do this, I might have to.
So I think your point is that the skills kind of list out how we should be using Azure Functions today, whereas when talking with whatever coding agent you're using, it could still pick up things that are actually going away pretty soon when you think about it. Because the in-process model ends with .NET 8, and that support ends this year.
Exactly. So there's I'm just going to bring that back up so we have it. This here, but where I was going with that was when you run through this and you do the installation, you end up with Azure Functions. So there's a whole collection of I hit the wrong button, of course. Sorry about that. Let me try this another way. That was where I wanted to go. There's also
now is this ready to present now? Because it's not on stage at the moment.
Good. So nobody saw me mess up. This is good.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we didn't. I didn't click something that.
No, that was me. Okay. So we've got this here. I've installed the skills. Now we have this little agent window up here. And what I'm hoping is, and that's a separate window. Hang on. I think I can open it in the editor. Did that not do it? That doesn't look like it did it. No, I don't know where that is. Hang on. So I open the agents window, and then there is a open in terminal, secondary side. No. Oh, that's horrible. So, all right, let me share this. See, the thing I have here is because I only share a section of the screen, we're not seeing everything, but you should see this now. Okay. So this in VS Code in the upper right-hand corner is the agents window.
Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah.
And this is kind of interesting because it brings all those agents regardless of where they are. Can I zoom this in a little bit? Yeah. So you can see we have agents, and some of those agents are the ones that this here being the one that we have that we created, our episode producer, right? So because we're in that project in that workspace, that one's visible. But not in there are a number of other skills. And you can see that we actually have all those Azure Function skills that we just loaded inside of here. So especially like this best practices one, which is the one that we ran. So this is a way of accessing and looking at those skills. If I click on it, I can actually see the text that's here. If I wanted to edit it or modify it, I could do that here as well, but I don't have to. So I'll just kind of reset that back to where it was. There we go. But it's a way of, seeing everything at once, including instructions and hooks and MCP servers and plugins. So this is a way of just getting a sense of from the perspective of what's accessible. These are all available to you inside of the agent inside of the agent window, essentially. And if you need to, if you need to bring in or add more, you can do that from here as well. Yeah, browse the marketplace for MCP servers. So you can actually bring in additional ones if you need them. So this is just another way of looking at it. So that was why I was showing this here, that, hey, we can look at the best practices one. You can see the important stuff like when to use it, don't use it for these things. What are the core principles around best practices? What are the required inputs I might need? What does that workflow look like? So running through and collecting evidence, using other skills potentially like these functions inventory, and then have some kind of an output in a structured format that the skill provides here. So it's a really good example of what a good skill could essentially contain, but also having used it, it was actually really helpful in running through what we should be thinking about when we do functions now. So I definitely recommend taking a look at these if you do functions a lot.
Okay, cool.
So I'll get rid of that. That's interesting. Now you can still see this. Oh, I guess because I am sharing that. Okay, never mind. How many years have you been using StreamYard? I should figure it out by now, right? Yeah, let's go back to this one. Okay. So what did we get to? Functions conversation with GitHub Copilot led to some changes. Some of those changes are things like, let me get rid of this. If I look at...
So can I put that back on stage there?
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Mm-hmm. So some of that led to some changes in how we do this, mostly in this speech transcription service, in that we are using cognitive services. We're using from a cognitive service from a specific project that I've created over in Azure AI Foundry. And that project has the ability to use some of the models that, if you saw the build keynote, were mentioned yesterday around the MAI set of, I think there were 7 more that were updated and released and made available. One of those is MAI Transcribe, which is what we want to do. We're taking speech, we're creating text out of it, and we're using it to create a transcription of the show that we have. And we'll go through that. We'll kind of go through that process here. The other thing that is kind of interesting is if you have GitHub Copilot, there is also a code version of MAI, Code 1 Flash, and that is also accessible in or available as a model inside of VS Code. So I'm trying it out. Instead of focusing on the auto, we're trying to use that for what I've been chatting with so far, and it's been working pretty well. I had a like with any model, you have those conversations where it's like, no, don't do it that way, do it this way, and you have to make sure that give a little bit of steering, but that's consistent with any model. But so far, it's been working pretty well. So that's the model story from the transcribe. This is essentially the model or the function that we're focused on. I think what we're probably going to have to do, and we'll show this in a second here, is probably mess with some of the settings that we need to include inside of the transcription space here. But we'll come back to that in a second. What I want to do is kind of kick this off and just kind of show it running through. So I'm going to launch Aspire, unless you have questions before I go through this, Chris.
No, I think I see what we're doing here.
Okay. So we're going to launch our host. Let's go start the dashboard. We need all of that to kind of be in place before we get started. So we'll do this. Everything's running. That looks good. I'm going to bring up the console logs from here and get rid of the Aspire, that bottom part. Probably can also get rid of that as well. So this is the output, the console log of our function. So we're just kind of waiting for this to hit a state where it's ready, and that's kind of where it is now. It's got the lease there. And off screen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that transcript, and this is from 2 shows ago. I think the one we did the last week in May. So the 26th, that's right, it was May 26th. And I'm going to drop that in a container in my blob storage running locally here on my machine. So when I do that, it's going to take a few seconds for that transcript to be uploaded. And once it does, you see that things have kicked off. We're starting the HTTP request process to get that content out of that dev container. And it's actually making the post over to those cognitive services here. And it's that quickly, it has succeeded. So what we should have is and I'll do a refresh over here, which is off screen. You can't see it. It's all a whole sharing thing. But what I can do is if I download this one.
So yeah, that was just adding the file to blob storage, and then there's a blob trigger, which we can see on line 19, but also in the code. We talked about it last time. The blob trigger picked it up and then started a batch transcription. Now, here's the interesting thing for me, and this is where maybe I'm a little unsure how things work, is, this is the speech to text service that's part of the AI services sitting in, well, if you're in the Foundry portal, you can see the AI services. We were even looking at the playground last time.
Yeah.
But now this is in code using the SDK to access that. But did you select a model to use there? And I'm just saying that from line 27, where it says MAI transcribe request.
Yes. So if we go to here, MAI transcribe, right. So if we go back to speech transcription service and we go up to here, we actually did provide that model.
Okay. So
now you don't have to. I think if you just are using the cognitive services engine, we didn't have to provide a model, but because we specifically want to use a model for this purpose. So one of the things you can do with the batch creation is you could also create a custom model that you've trained with your, maybe we did something, because of, more developer focus. So we could have a custom model that we wind up using for the transcription. But this right now is how we set that.
So let me see if I have straight what I'm seeing in the code, and maybe this is a change from last time. Because you wanted to pick the model more, maybe if I'm saying this wrong, stop me.
You're doing fine.
This is calling the REST endpoint now.
Yes.
This is different from if you, because there is a C# SDK, there's a Python SDK. I think there's even a Java one. Actually, I think there's all kinds of different languages that are supported.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were using, would it be different if you didn't use the REST endpoint directly in code? You wouldn't be able to specify like, hey, I want MAI transcribe 1.5.
Sorry, that was music in the background. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, so so it's a REST call. So even when we did the batch stuff and we called it directly, it was a REST call to basically post what it was that we were doing, and then that can be a long running process because in our case it's just one file, but it could be many files that we're sending over to it. We can send a whole array of them. What happens then is we periodically ping that service or that specific service with the ID of the process of the batch process that's running and say, are you done yet? And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for it to be done. And then when it's done, we get a URL that says, essentially gives us where the transcript is, and we can download that, and then we save that off locally to a location. So yeah, it is a RESTful service that we're making that call with. And it, technically,
I guess I was wondering if the speech SDK maybe doesn't support model selection or something like that. I don't know.
That would be, so the speech, we did look at this, or let's bring this up because that is a good question. Give me 1 second here, because I think we had that up there on the last show. Just going to copy this and bring this over here. Going to get another browser. I probably have to do this. Yep, there we go. Paste. All right. So this is what we looked at last week when we, or on Monday. So when we look at something like speech to text overview, right? There's a bunch of different ways that we can do that. We can look at the batch transcription, but there's also, as you mentioned, the speech SDK and the speech SLI to bring in. We did have that in there, and I think we got rid of it.
Maybe the batch transcription. Batch transcription is supported in there. Maybe. So that's just what I'm wondering. I'm wondering why, and again, maybe we don't have the answer right this second, is why the code switched to contacting the REST endpoint directly versus using the speech SDK. And I wonder if it had to do with the new model. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, because we wanted to include our own model. So we were just talking about the speech service. The speech service is one of the old cognitive services, which certainly could do that. But the models, there's different things that we could, the models, I think, run a little quicker. I mean, just based on how quick they're running.
Oh, that was really fast too, right?
I remember.
I was surprised. I said, like, "Oh, is that a small audio file?"
No, it was a normal hour session.
Yeah, sure.
So, but we've talked about it, but we haven't seen it. So let's go ahead and bring that up.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean to get hung up there, but I thought it was interesting that we switched in the code. So yeah, look at that.
So it's there. There is a bit of, sorry, it's word wrap, right? So it's interesting. I'm not sure what, this is kind of where you started. I'm not sure what all this is. I have to look at that. The audio does have our intro in it as well. It's not clipped.
Oh, okay.
that's the only thing I can think of, is that there is that there at the time. But this is certainly the conversation. We, it was Tuesday and we thought it was Monday kind of day. So all of that is there, which is good. And I kind of read, followed along with it. And it seemed to be tracking pretty well. What it doesn't have, though, is it doesn't have the timestamps and the VTT format that we might be looking for. So I think that's what we want to try and see if we can modify the settings and basically be able to get the right one. So if we look at the if we look at the speech to text API, and I'm kind of other than knowing we have the ability to bring in our own set of settings, fast transcription is not what we want. So that just gives us, it doesn't include some of the diarization or the model capabilities that we want. So that's why we need to go to batch, even though it's just one file. So in that we have, the ability to include the model, the transcriptions, and a webhook to actually get called back. So that's something we want to look at as well. So multiple files. So we can look at this and see how that looks. So
and we are calling transcription submit, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So in our code, it's transcriptions : submit. Interesting.
In our code, it is, what do we,
well,
async.
Yeah.
And there's an HTTP request message. So we're basically packing it.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Actually, transcriptions transcribe. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is an interesting way of popping a URL in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's included in here is multi-part add. So this would be where we should be able to make the settings we need to for the models and the task and such. And then have that be our JSON object that we wind up posting, I would think. Multi-part add, stream, and then post. Yeah. So request, right. Multi-part is the content that we're posting. And then we send it. Cool. Okay. So all that gets what we're packaging up in that request gets sent here or assigned here. And then we do the send here with this request and the cancellation token as well. So what we need to do is figure out what goes into what are the settings that we can change inside of here? Because I know that we want to include a few more than just the task, if we can. So let's go back to here just to make sure.
Right. So the documentation tends to point to this field contains a JSON serialized object of type transcript definition, which I'm not seeing it. I'm in a different spot.
Oh.
But so basically what I did is I jumped ahead to the actual method transcription submit, which didn't turn out to be it. We're actually using, on the left, you can see transcribe. That's what we're using, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, this is reference documentation, so I don't think it's exactly giving us everything.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit further down, it talks about how, well, actually, you're there. The form data, which we are building,
mm-hmm.
is of type transcribe definition. So now the trick is like, okay, where's that?
Right. Usually those things wind up below, but not always. Yeah. Request. We should be able to find that. Let's see. It sent us right back here. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking like, okay, where do I find the transcribe definition? Because we definitely think we can modify that.
Yeah. So probably in this batch transcription overview would be my guess. So let's take a look through here. Although it looks like we've already run out of content looking at your files. That's kind of where we were. So let's see, use a custom model. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. So this would be content URLs. Right. So the properties box controls transcription behavior, which if we look at I would say that if those properties are in there, I would say that it's the same thing we're looking at. So no, model sits above that. Properties would be a node under that, right? Because there's locale, display name, and model.
Yeah, the model name got set like it says there.
Mm-hmm.
And
so is there...
What we're looking now for is... Well, what things are we looking for? I figure we were looking for... What's it called again? Diarization?
Yeah. So if we go back into here and look at this.
Yeah, it was in that list. Right there at the bottom now. Inside properties.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, you can add diarization. Specify the minimum and maximum number of people who might be speaking. You must also set the diarization enabled property to true. Now it does say for 2 speakers, setting the property is enough. If you expect 3 or more, you need to use the property to say maximum number of people. Okay.
Okay.
For an example of the property usage, see transcription submit. So I'm going to head over there just to take a look.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know we're using the transcribe API, but in the submit API, they do have an example. And it's like you said, there is a properties. So it's interesting that it says enhanced mode.
So you I guess after clicking this link here, right? The transcription submit.
Yeah, click there. And then you'll have to scroll down a little bit.
Record body.
Oh, actually, you're not. Oh, yeah, you are right there. Yes. So transcription properties. There is a sample here, though.
Oh, okay.
Sample. So create a transcription with multi-speaker diarization is the 4th example in the little box there.
Gotcha.
And so here's what I find interesting, right, is that there's this properties section that I'm just wondering. I don't know. I don't know for sure if what you're adding to the code is this. I just don't know.
Yeah. So that would make sense, right? Because if you go back to sorry, where were we? Is it this one? Yeah, if we go back up to here, and we look at properties, there's transcription properties. And if you look at diarization, there's diarization properties. So that makes sense. It's an object inside of there, I would think. But we should only have to just create the Boolean of true. So it's if it's not that, then it has to be something like this in order to make it work. And for me, the question is enabled and model transcription all at the same level? Lookout property.
Yeah.
See models at this level.
Right. And then properties is at the same level, right?
That,
so I feel like there's a properties section.
Yep.
And then diarization is a property of this.
Yeah.
And then you can have enabled, which you have.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're saying is that if you have two, you don't necessarily need to specify max speakers.
Right.
So we could leave it alone.
Yeah. I mean, that should be all we need.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to find out.
The difference between transcribe and submit, you may have said this already and it just didn't hit home, is that it looks like submit is asynchronous. You submit this job.
Yeah.
You submit transcription as a job, whereas the transcribe API, the API is synchronous. And so we're actually waiting on it to return.
Oh,
I mean, if it works, it works. And then we can move to a asynchronous pattern in a bit. That's the difference I'm seeing between submit and transcribe. If there's more, I could see that. So and it's not a whole lot of text. Under submit, it says submits a new transcription job. But when you switch to transcribe, it says synchronous transcription of an audio file. So let's just see it work, because it was pretty quick.
Definitely.
And we could always switch to a asynchronous form of this
to make it a little more performant.
Sure. Or even just so that it's not blocking. I mean,
exactly.
Whether it's performant or not, who knows? It's just like, okay, at least we're not blocking on it.
Right. And I think the submit one, if we go back and look real quick at the at some of the properties there, and we go down to, we go to transcription properties.
You can supply a webhook, right?
Well, you can supply a webhook, but you could also do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So right now in the code, we're saying, hey, drop this in the blob, container tds-transcripts. I could just do it here.
I could go back to blob.
Right. So
and then now and then the next, anybody else who's interested in the result can go next.
Right. Because what we're doing now is we're extracting the transcript and then saving it off the blob.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's make it work. And again, this is our function, so we're just making sure that our function is up and running before we do anything.
Right.
So the verbose flag, that's fine. One more line. There we go. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to drop a file into source.
Now, that first paragraph, you think, is it trying to transcribe the theme song?
I do.
Huh. I thought its answer was interesting.
Yes.
And the fact that it repeats makes sense, right? But where did it come up with that?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, I think. I don't know. All right, transcript saved.
Yeah. So if I go to the transcripts folder and I do a refresh there, I have a transcript. I can download this and we'll open it. Looks the same.
Okay, so we don't think that it applied the
No.
diarization then.
Nope. We could
Let's see. Now, no, it does say, I thought maybe, I was trying to see what else we might have missed here. Only 2 speakers are identified in versions
Sorry, hang on.
Less than 3.1.
Don't save. No, because it doesn't have the word wrap around it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that should be the latest one.
Yeah, diarization enabled. True. Should be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I wonder, there's 2 properties here.
On that
and
submit.
So when you go down in not in submit, it's when you find the because remember the request configuration is in a different page for whatever reason. Actually, you have it there, properties, transcription properties. So click there. Yeah. And now here we are at the transcription properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so weird.
Are you not seeing this?
There's also a diarization enabled true, which might be older. It might have been older.
Okay.
And maybe it used to be that diarization just was a true false, and then they decided to make it a you know, like its own sub-nested like feature.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, here's something that's really weird. It says here, you must also set the diarization enabled property to true.
Where are you for that?
That's in the create a batch transcription tab, which you do have open. You do have that tab open.
Ah, this one.
Yeah. And so you see how it says you must also set the diarization property to true in the 3rd paragraph?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, your screen looks different than mine. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it's still there. Yep. Okay, so it says it in the 3rd paragraph. And then you scroll down just a touch, and there's diarization enabled. It's like the next one down. Now, I'm trying to map out, is it because maybe once upon a time there was only a diarization enabled property, and then they said, no, we need more. We need some sub properties. So we'll create the other one. But I wonder if you still have to set diarization enabled to true.
Well, what I'm reading from this here is, which is expected to be a mono channel that contains 2 voices. For 3 or more voices, you need to set the diarization property. So all we should need to do is set this for enabled, and we should be done.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's try that. All right, so that diarization enabled then would mean that this isn't, isn't needed that way. This is just true. And it's that property instead. Okay. The other thing, the other thing they mentioned is that the audio it needs to be mono, right?
Right. Which it might not be.
I don't know. Give me a second here. Properties. I have no idea how you tell.
Open it in Audacity. That's probably the easiest way to tell.
Okay.
You know what though? Well, I don't know.
What are you thinking?
A mono channel that contains two voices. I guess it's probably easy enough to just try it, but other than that, like you said, I think in the past I've opened things in Audacity and seen the multiple channels.
And then just save one off.
I think there's a way to combine it. It's been a while since I've done this though.
Okay. I'm installing it now.
And then
let's go back to here.
I can't remember if there's an SDK that we can use.
All right, so I'm going to shut down Aspire for right now. Audacity is loading. Accept, continue.
I'm pretty sure about this anyway.
You're what?
I'm pretty sure about this. It's been a while. And then the trick would be, if we really do have to change the audio file, is how would we do that?
I'm pretty sure it's in the settings of the file. Give me 1 second. I'll show you where I am. Share screen. Share screen. Window, Audacity, share. Put that up on the stage. There we go. So that to me looks like a double, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how to combine it. Does it say it up there?
Split stereo to mono.
Yes. Yep. Actually, if you want a single mono track that averages both channels, select, is that what we're looking for? Select tracks, mix, and render, combines the two mono tracks into one. Oh, first we have to split stereo to mono. Okay. Which you might already have.
It did. So that was under the ellipse here. Stereo to mono. And we get that.
Oh, okay.
And then we do tracks.
Now, do we want a single mono track? Is that what we're looking for?
Yep.
So tracks, and then there's mix and render.
Mix and render is my own. Well, mix and render to a new track.
Okay. It's not showing the menus when you click on them.
Oh.
That probably has to do with the rendering again, right? For window versus. But it just says here you can pick tracks, mix, and render, and we'll create a single mono track containing all selected audio.
There we go.
Okay.
While we're in
sound
here,
okay?
Can I play it?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it's playing it.
Cool. So the other thing we're going to do is I'm going to expand this a little bit. Let's take this back. I come to there.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
That's where we'll start.
Sounds good.
I do that. I do it at home. Yep. Delete. Beautiful. There we go. Save it. Save it on my computer. Yes. This PC. Hang on, I'm finding where my desktop or my downloads are. Downloads. We'll call this, whoa, AUP3. No. We want, oh, I don't want a project file.
Yeah, you don't have to. So there's an export feature in the file menu.
Okay.
Instead of saving it with like save and save as, you want to export. And I think you can pick like MP3 or something like that.
Yeah, or MP3. Beautiful.
Since I can't see your menus, I'm like doing this from memory.
But that's quite good. I'm going to change the file name to be mono. We'll say okay. That's going to export. It's going to take a few seconds. This is about 15 seconds remaining. We already hit the post at 9 o'clock, but that's fine. We'll wait for that to go because this shouldn't take long to run again. I'm going to go ahead and restart Aspire. Aspire run. And that looks like it's done. Okay, so let's remove this. Let's bring this back in. This one, go. Share it up. Okay. This guy's back up and running, so we're good.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little permutations here that would be interesting to test. For example,
right,
the old file with these settings, if this works, then we're like, okay, well, at least we found a happy path. What were the things that it didn't allow it to work in the first place? Was it the property setting in the request? Was it the file?
Yeah,
because it could have been that the speech to text service worked fine, but the diarization part was like, well, I can't do my job because there's too many tracks here, which I find interesting. I'm a little confused. I guess I just don't understand what the process is like, because maybe in order for it to why can't it transcribe a stereo file, but then I don't know. I don't know enough about audio and
right.
So
sorry, I got to find out where the file went because it threw it in Documents Audacity.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to drop that into there. So that should kick off. Yep, and it looks like it has. And that was with the setting in there, so that's good. Okay. Sending to post. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay, right? Fingers crossed.
I'm going to download it out of it's called mono text, and we get the same thing without the initial.
Well, right. So that went away.
Yeah.
So I think there is some improvement here where it figured out that the beginning was not speech.
Well, we removed that.
Oh, you cut it? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah, I cut the song out.
Now, again, I guess it's just, and in the past, you have had this working.
We did,
but maybe. So here's the thing: what if we drop it into Playground and click that diarization button, just to see it working in the Foundry Playground? And I don't know if you can do that though, because last time I needed to. There was a reason I needed to do it. I don't remember why.
I think I did do the diarization bit. but speech to text models. 1 second. You can't see my screen. Give me just a second to do that. You can see my screen, right?
Not yet.
No.
It just wasn't on the stage.
Yep. So this is the MAI transcribe. If I do open in Playground, and I come to here and do speaker. Oh. Interesting. I can't turn that on.
Huh. What if you picked a different model? Like a model we were using before, maybe. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe. I don't know. Is there, I wonder. Except that in this case, you're not actually selecting the model, right? You're just saying like, hey, you pick.
How did I lose the model? Let's go back, open a Playground again. So if I don't do that and I do this, real time. Oh, if I say real time, I don't get to choose a model. I don't want real time though. We want batch. Let's go back to that.
Hold on a second. I'm going to send you a link in Discord. I apologize that it will not make you happy. I apologize ahead of time.
Oh no. We can't do what we want to do is what you're saying.
Yeah. Basically what I'm saying. Although it's not sending it. Interesting.
I have to stop sharing because Discord's in that same thread.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
I guess I could have just set it up myself.
All right. So I'm going to share this back up again.
Oh, it didn't take you directly to the link. So I was hoping it would take you directly to the link that's using MAI transcribe model. There's 3 bullet point lists there.
Oh. Okay.
So mystery solved.
Yeah. Working as expected.
Working, yes. So the key is now is if we try to do this, and I know this is the second time in a row now where we ended up in the playground to figure things out. Yeah. Is in the playground, if we drop our file in there, does it work? And I'm still really, I'm still really curious if the original stereo one was a problem. But that's just some curiosities that I have. And then it's like, okay, well, then we would have what we need.
So let's just do that.
Yeah.
So if I come back to this, here is the original transcript. I can drop that here.
And that's interesting that this version seems to stream the result back.
As opposed to giving it to me all at the end, right?
Right. The other thing that I think would be an interesting exercise is looking, although I wouldn't click, is looking at the code button to get some idea of how they're calling it. See, didn't work. So maybe that's a problem.
Well, let's just go back to this, right? If we go back to here and models, we're in Discover. Go to Build, Models, AI Services, Speech to Text. Now in this interface,
right, and you don't want
diarization.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not convinced that. Anyways,
Convinced
that it was maybe the other playground was the problem, because now you're going to try the same stereo file.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the original stereo file, but it's using the Azure Speech to Text.
So I guess what I'm curious about, although I wouldn't click it because we've gotten burned by this before, is clicking the code button. And sometimes, remember one time I clicked that button, it was like, oh, there's your API key.
Right.
Instead of it saying like your API key. But I'm just interested, like, if the process works, then I'm interested in like, well, how did you use the SDK? And even though I suspect that the code in there will be Python, we could probably at least see what they did. Okay.
That is odd. Because it was
that was the stereo one there, but you turned on diarization, so I don't know.
Yeah. We can try that once more with this. So it's just real-time transcription.
Yeah, okay.
And you probably can't do diarization with real-time transcription, if I remember right.
So I think, let me see. I actually just saw what it said about that, but I think it's called like short. Here it is. Create real-time diarization. It says the speech-to-text REST API for short audio doesn't support real-time diarization, but that's not the same thing as submitting with the API.
Right.
So I feel like, I don't know.
We'll try this. If this doesn't go, then I'll throw we'll do the mono one in there. I feel like it's going to fail.
Yeah, because it usually starts pumping out the answer right away, right?
It's quicker than this.
And this is still the stereo file?
Yes. Oh, wow. There you go.
Oh, wait, it seems to be picking it up. So the transcript at first was not showing speakers.
Oh,
but then it started popping it in. So I think it maybe needed to recognize a second speaker and then say, oh, okay, there's someone different for sure.
And that's the stereo one.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay. Well, maybe that would mean going back to, yeah, it would just mean going back to the speech to text cognitive services. So, okay. We got a result.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely want it coming from our app, but at least the playground's here to verify that we're not going crazy.
Definitely. Okay. So I can change some things back and get it back talking to the speech to text endpoint without a model, which I think is all I need to do.
Okay, cool. Whenever I watch my own transcript, I realize how many incomplete sentences that I use. I think, oh man. So
this is good though. This is good.
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot going on here. Okay, cool. Neat.
And I think
that you can even do a pronunciation assessment. That's great. You learn how to evaluate a user's speech pronunciation. That'll be fun. All right. So where are we? So we tried using batch transcription, and it's unclear if that's going to work. But in the playground, the real-time transcription is doing speech to text and separating us out, which is important for a little bit later. So, okay, so we definitely have more to do there.
But we got to see it working, at least doing the transcribing end to end, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Today's Wednesday. I think there might be some opportunities for the rest of the week. I don't know.
I'm remembering. No, I got a meeting that starts at 8 on Friday. I could do tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll take a look at tomorrow and see if we can keep moving forward on this. And so everybody, again, our progress is always at the YouTube channel at youtube.com/the Dev Talk Show. And other than that, we'll I think we'll see if we can see you tomorrow morning, right, Rich?
Yeah, definitely. Go watch some build. There's a lot of videos.
Yeah, everybody enjoy that. If there's anything we want to talk about there, we'll probably get to it maybe next week. So for Rich, I'm Chris, and we'll see you all next time on the Dev Talk Show.